Hello everyone, welcome back. I would like to say a couple of things before we begin. First of all, thank you so much for all the feedback and support you have shown me in the past few weeks, because the feedback is extremely important to me to improve the way I present you the game, and that's very important to me. So thank you for that. Secondly, I would like to say a couple of words about the way I play the game. So I play this way because this is the best way, or the way that makes me win the most times and enjoy the most, because in the end winning is quite enjoyable. So this is through my experience, through what I've learned playing. This is a variant that is so new to many of us, or it's still very difficult to say what's right and what is wrong. What is the best approach, what is boring, what is ethical, or what are the right rules to use. So in these videos on my channel, I will show you the way I play, and I will show you the way I think during a game. I've seen many times in the chats when spectating a game that people actually didn't know who was winning. So some people were believing, for example, yellow was winning, some other people were saying, what are you talking about, red is completely winning. So it is difficult to understand still. So we are learning, and I would like to think that I'm learning as well. So throughout time, I will improve and I will change the way I play. And if some kind of strategy doesn't work, for sure I will try to change, because my final aim is to get top 10. So having said that, let's talk about the game now. So as you can see, the opponents are all around 1500. So if I lose here, I lose a lot of points, even if their opponents are not the weakest opponents ever. So 1500 is a very good rating. So as you can see, I don't know if you noticed earlier in the game, red pushed this pawn up, and I followed up pushing my pawn up as well, almost threatening the exchange. I was the one saying, I'm not scared of you exchanging bishops, so he defended, and that's excellent for me. Secondly, I am playing my first moves to defend the king. So as I've said in the past, for me, king safety is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing in 4-player chess. Especially because you can't think about 4-player chess as you think about normal chess. What I think the priority is in a normal game of chess is within the first 10 moves, 15 moves, to get your king relatively safe. Let's say 60% safe. I'll try to say this percentage to help you understand what I mean. So let's say in the first 10 moves you want your king to be 60% safe in a normal game of chess. But in my opinion, in 4-player chess, it's the priority to play the first 10 moves to guarantee your king to be 90% safe. So you can't approach a game of 4-player chess the same way that you approach a normal game of chess, because to be honest, they are kinda a lot different. So that's why all my first moves are all about king safety. I've played in the past few times where I neglect a little bit king safety to actually push the pawns up and try to develop, try to expand as quickly as possible, maybe to grab some space, but it backfires. So this is why I've now decided that this kind of structure and this kind of opening moves are extremely important. So this is the Dubious opening with the knight maneuver, bringing the knight to here. Now clearly you have to be really careful about this knight, not to drop it. And as you can see, everyone is kind of solid right now. Everyone is playing not to grab the center just yet. So this could be a good chance for me to push the pawns maybe and get a queen. Red has a very awkward placed knight here. Also because I think red really doesn't want to exchange bishops, and he knows I am not scared of exchanging them because I offered him before. So his knight is a bit pinned in a sense already. So that's good for me. I would say so far no one has a big advantage. Everyone is doing fine. Here I check the leaderboard because I always keep an eye, and everyone is above 1800 now, so I need to get going, let's say. And so far I've defended my king, so it is possible that now it's time to push the pawns. I'm especially happy because I heard a few of you also played the way the moves I play in the opening, and you said you had a successful games, so that's extremely nice. I've seen actually also people, I played against players that played the Dubious opening and they won against me, so that was kind of funny. And as I told you, now the center is quite open, so it gives me the chance to push that pawn up without support, because being so clear or free, the center, I'm able to push the pawn without any big risks. And what I would like to underline is that I try to push the pawns not too far that they can't be defended easily by other pawns. So if, for example, this pawn was already here, it would be very difficult for me to defend it again. But if it's here, in a couple of moves I can support it with another pawn. So that's always something I keep in mind when I play. Not to push the pawns too far that they can't be defended easily, and not to push them too far that they can be attacked by another pawn from behind easily. So that's what I keep in mind when I play. Yellow is very solid. As you can see, he didn't even get over his third row, so that's interesting. And here, as you can see, if I keep pushing the pawn, I can't promote because there is the blue pawn. So there is actually no point in keep pushing, because if I keep pushing, the pawn just becomes weaker. Instead, to promote, since now I can't because there is this pawn here, I can't with this pawn, now I push the other pawns to support the other pawn. I think yellow doesn't really have a good plan to attack, so he's just really waiting a lot. I say that waiting is fine, because in the end avoiding the fight is good. But if you have a chance also to expand and grab the center and to have pawns that obstruct other people, it's also useful. So let's see if this very solid strategy from yellow pays off, because it's not about being as solid as possible, but it's also being as opportunistic as possible. So you have to give yourself chances to take the opportunity. If all of your pieces are behind the pawns, or they're stuck and you don't have many attacking places, then you will never be able to take opportunities. For example, my knights are quite close to red, so if red is ever attacked, I can always, for example, play knight here, because he can't take, because for example the queen is under threat, and then I can take the bishop, or I can jump with the knight forward and I can threat the bishop here, so I have some chances. And as you can see now, my central pawn is very stable, because it's this pawn is defended by the knight, so this pawn is defended as well, so I'm feeling good about this position so far. And now red offers the exchange of bishops again. I'm not willing to exchange, so I'm fine with that. I hope he's not going to exchange, but I will show you when to exchange at the right time, because red is kind of scary for me. So red now can take my bishop and exchange, but I'm the player on his right. So if he takes my bishop, then I have to be extremely careful. Blue cannot take one of my pieces, or yellow cannot take one of my pieces. For example, right now, as you will see, neither blue or yellow can take any of my pieces. So I'm fine with keeping this exchange possibility on, because even if he exchanges, blue can't do anything against me, and yellow can't do anything against me too. So this is something I have to keep in mind. In reality, actually, yellow could play here. This is true, actually. So if red takes, then yellow could play here. It's something that could have happened. So maybe I made a mistake during the game. But for sure, it's something you have to keep in mind anyways. So if there is an exchange possibility, especially from the player on your left, then be extremely careful that the other players can't take your pieces. And now the center over here, where I'm pushing now, it's kind of free, so I'm looking at the possibility to promote. I'm happy to see that blue and yellow exchanged bishops, because I give a lot of value to bishops. And for example, when I push the pawn here, I had a free pawn here. But I don't really care about this pawn, because it's just one point, and red could have exchanged bishops and yellow could have played here. So if I took and red took my bishop, then yellow would have played this and I would have taken my bishop. So now that I want to promote, that I have a promoting square, now it's time to exchange bishops. Because if I promote and red decides to take my bishop, then blue or yellow could attack my queen very easily, that it's not even defended. And when I take back the bishop, they take my queen. So that's why right now I decide to exchange bishops. And it turns out to be a successful strategy, because I promoted, my queen is not under threat. Very few of my pieces are under threat. Only this knight could be taken with a sacrifice. So it is true I exchanged bishops, but keep in mind that yellow and blue also lost a bishop, so I'm not down material, and I have an extra queen, so that's excellent. And now the good thing is that blue, I'm attacking this pawn, for example, and blue is having some pressure over yellow. So yellow is now facing pressure from me and blue. As you can see, I'm targeting that pawn that I'm punting with the mouse. So keeping some kind of pressure on yellow, so that blue, I can take any chance that I have if blue decides to exchange with yellow. He defends against me, but he's not actually defending against blue, so I'm happy to see that there is still tension between yellow and blue, because they might exchange at some point. That's excellent. And since I know there will be exchanges between, likely to be exchanges between blue and yellow, now I decide to push the pawn like that, so that I could take a chance of taking, as you can see, I could take a chance of taking pawns and pushing the pawn up. For example, the pawn is defended as well, so that's great. And blue feels pressure from yellow now, because blue could take here because the pawn is pinned. So it's nice that they're fighting against each other at this time. Check. Check is the best thing that can happen, to be honest, to another opponent, clearly. If I was yellow, I would take, because, you know, you never want to give the chance to your opponent to check you again. And here, I decide not to take. If I went on taking, then my pawn would be stuck. But look at this amazing possibility of pushing my pawn up behind the yellow line and promote on this side. That would be fantastic. Anyways, here, yellow is collapsing completely. So maybe the strategy where you're as solid as possible doesn't work. You have to attack, because if you're too solid, you risk that two players are going to attack you from two sides. So and yeah, I was really delighted to see that I could push the pawn and actually keep pushing behind the yellow line, and it would be really funny to actually promote on that side. Also because I would be defended from attacks from blue and red to my pawn, so that would be fun. And for example here, okay, I think red just blundered. Oh no, okay, he didn't blunder, but they're exchanging queens, so that's excellent for me. Blue and red exchanging queens, fantastic. And here, for example, yellow is dropping a rook. I kind of defended the rook with that move. So, but I played the queen there because I was attacking the rook, the other rook, and because I can push the pawn. Oh no, I can't push the pawn right now. But my idea was to push the pawn when I could. So to support that pawn to push. As you can see, I had an idea, but then it turned out to be wrong, so I was kind of confused for a little bit. Blue now is completely not dangerous at all because he doesn't have the queen. Look at the material difference between me and blue. And look at the material difference between me and red. It's huge. And the difference between me and yellow, it's huge. So I'm already really confident here. I'm the one with the least points, but don't care about that. In a future video, maybe in the next video, I will show you. Here, yellow blunders a rook, by the way. I will show you why grabbing points at the beginning is not going to help you in the long run. Because I played a game where I was like, after 50 moves I was already at 25 points, where everyone else was at 3 or 2 or 1 points, and I ended up not winning the game. So I will show you that game to underline the fact that points at the beginning are not really useful. Here yellow is just trying to hold on to what the small amount of material he has, because he's defended this pawn with this move. So he's just playing passively now and just suffering. And as you can see, I never attacked with many pieces at once. It's already a weird thing that I have a rook and a queen really up the board. But I do this because I know the rook can't be attacked by any of red and blue. And the only threat to attack my pieces is yellow, because I'm so much on yellow's side that yellow is the only danger. So if one player is the danger, then you can play as normal chess. You can attack with as many pieces as you want. Here, he moved the rook there before because he wanted to defend the pawn, so now he moves away. So I get to take the pawn for free, and I'm attacking the red bishop, so that's good. Because often you can take pieces of opponents, for example red, because they think you're attacking yellow and don't see that you're attacking also their pieces. In this case, red noticed. So, but sometimes it's very good to fork pieces on a long file or long diagonal, because opponents are likely not to see it. And I'm doing really good in this position because no threats against me as usual, and material is very good for me. I'm catching up on points. So, and here I have a decision to make, what to do with that rook. And if you don't know what to do with that rook or with any piece that has been attacked, the best thing to do is to, as you will see, to go back, because I wanted to play this for a second. My instinct, my attacking instinct took over me for a second. But if you notice, my queen will be here, so possibly could be attacked by yellow, and my rook will be here, possibly attacked by red. So that's the best thing you can do if you want to lose material. So I decided to just bring it back. And it's an excellent rook over there because it's on an open file, attacking all the way to the blue king, so it's excellent. The queen is very safe there, can't really be attacked by anyone, so here yellow has to move the knight because the knight is on prey. But if he moves the knight, then blue can exchange, and yellow is trying to avoid that. So let's see how he deals with that. Is he gonna do anything? Is this the best way to... Oh, he moved. The thing is that he blundered the queen for free, and the knight is still hanging. So that was not the best move for sure. And no, I see, because the queen was also attacked by the rook. The red's rook. I see why. And as you can see, that was a huge gift for me. And yellow is desperate now, so he just resigned. And I want to get that king. I was thinking that because I didn't notice the rook was defending the bishop. But I want to get that king, but it's not that easy. It's not that easy because red has two rooks there. The good thing is that the way for red to attack the king, the only way, is to take here or play here. But both ways, he's gonna lose both rooks or one rook and do not taking the king. So that's great for me. Because for example, if he takes here, then blue could take here, and then I could move the king up, and then red takes, and then I take the king. So this is an excellent position for me because actually we're all locking each other out from taking that king. But I'm the one with the best capabilities to do so because I have a queen. The queen is way more agile. And right now I just wanted to swap the attention to red. I wanted to checkmate red. So he's creating weaknesses. He's pushing pawns in front of the king. So that's not good. And I wanted to check red as well so that blue could make him weaker, because right now red is the strongest player between the two, so that's why. Also because he's the most scary to take the king, so the yellow's king. I think he's scared about that check with the knight. That's why he goes back with the rook right there. But this is excellent news for me because I couldn't take the king just because the rook was on the light square diagonal. But now he's not there anymore, so that's excellent. And I take the chance to do so. I decide to take with that queen instead because I get rid of the pawn, the gray pawn. I could eventually push my pawn that was blocked before by that pawn, and because I think my queen is better here, this queen here, when I take, it will not be on this file anymore. But having the chance to check blue whenever I want is always useful. So that's why I use the other queen to attack. And this queen is completely safe, so. Now my knight is under attack, that's true, but 20 points are more than a knight. Knights are not really useful, so it's an excellent exchange for me. And as you can see, point-wise now I'm doing extremely fine. And it's just a matter of finishing off the game now. So what I would do in this position is attack red, because red is the one with the most material. It is true that he's behind on points, but it doesn't really matter. Being up on material is essential here, and can give you way more than 8 points. So, and as you see, during the game I didn't push the pawns up and didn't promote, only because having too many queens in the middle game is not really useful. You just need one queen. You don't need 3, 4 queens. They become really useful in the late game. Yeah, nice knight blunder. Luckily, knights are not that important, but I blundered a knight. It happens. It's not really easy to keep track of everything, so. And I was maybe too relaxed at this point because I was completely winning, so. And I was thinking about pushing the pawns and getting another queen. I was already thinking about like a title like 6 queens and 7 queens, stuff like that. So it becomes really easy at this point of the game. You still have to play carefully because it's easy to lose the advantage as well. But if you are solid in a sense, then you have nothing to worry about. So right now I'm trying to promote another pawn. And the good thing is that blue and red are not focusing on attacking me. As you can see, red was attacking blue rook. So they're not playing together, so that's good. I'm always keeping an eye on possibilities anyways to take the knight and then come in with the queen, because that's always good. I can also sacrifice my queen, for example, checkmating defended by the bishop in some positions and be happy with that. So always having 2 eyes, you know, always keeping an eye on promoting a pawn, always keeping an eye on trying to checkmate red. Here blue stops me from promoting, so I was like sad to see that move. Because to be honest, there is no point in stopping me. I mean, as you can see, this move allows me to put some more pressure on red, and a move that I can play next is this. Especially now that he pinned himself. So, as you can see, during the game I was thinking this move, because now if he pushes, I take, he takes, I take with the queen, and I'm just smashing through, so. And here, I play a very interesting move, I think. So here he's trying to take the pawn. I'm not gonna play the best move, it's not the best move, but look at this. I decide to push, because he's attacking both my queens, that's true, but I'm also attacking both his pieces. So in the end, I'm exchanging 1 pawn, because in the end, the queen is a pawn, for 5 points. I thought it was more creative than useful, this move. But, you know. And as I said, taking a bishop. Taking the bishop out, to be honest, is quite nice, because now there are so many possible checks that I can give to blue. So I already took a king now, so keep that in mind. Probably you know from the title that something weird is gonna happen. Blue overextends his rook a little bit too much. If I was him, I would keep the rooks coordinated and play something like, instead of rook down here, rook here would be better maybe. And here it's a mistake that many people could make, is to take here defended by the blue rook, because he says, okay, if blue takes, then yeah, green takes, so you both lose, so no one is gonna do it. But as you can see, blue can go back and not attack the bishop, so the bishop is not defended and I can take. Here it went a little bit too fast, but I took the rook because my queen was attacked, because in any case I can have 5 points here and then 5 points over here. So that's why I played that way. I exchanged the rook for 2 pieces. Sorry, I exchanged the queen for 2 pieces, so it's fine. It is true that I'm going down material now, and that's good for them. I'm doing worse than before, but it's still completely fine. Something that is always nice is to keep attacking the 2 players at the same time. If you're winning, if you have a better position than the two other players together, having both of them having to react to your moves is excellent, because they don't have time to plan an attack against you. And here, as you can see, this knight was blocking my diagonal of the queen. So now it's almost made, because I can have a nice attack against red, having the queen on this diagonal now, having the rook on this file. That pawn was blocking me from promoting, so now I'm even closer to promoting again. I'm really taking it with calm, because there is no need to rush it. And soon something that is ethical or unethical is going to happen. So it's been a big discussion in the chess.com forums, where if you're winning and there is a guy in third place playing against you 1v1, should you let him gain enough points to get second place? So as you can see here, as I said before, I played this move looking like I was attacking red, but in reality I had this nice diagonal defended by the rook to attack blue. So blue didn't see that. I'm attacking now blue, but here red moves away because he thinks my queen is somehow has to be defended. And now I can take over here, and in one move is going to be checkmate for me, so that's good. And this is mate. I have to calculate 1 second because blue can push and promote. Once I mate, then it's blue turns and he can promote. But I'm still up material, so I'm still fine. And you might also say that I could just resign and win. So here I already have 2 checkmates, and I could resign and win, but if I resign, blue goes in second position. Should I allow that? This is some question that I have for you. Should I allow blue to get second position, or try to win without letting blue make any points? I didn't check the king, the blue king, just because if you check, you just allow the king to come closer faster. So that's not what you want to do. You want to keep the king away from your pawns, and as in normal chess, you don't want to give unnecessary checks to allow your king closer. The opponent's king closer. So right now, actually, I'm just playing just because I don't want to give second position to blue for nothing. And also because I would like to get triple checkmate and more than 100 points. That would be nice as well. Blue is doing a fine job because he's supporting the pawn with the king and coming closer, so he's kind of dangerous, so that's good for him. And now this is the weird section. So I will stop 1 second the recording. Here, the blue king can't move. Okay, he can't move the king, and the pawn can't move either. The only piece that can move is the rook. So if he can get rid of the rook, he's gonna stalemate me. Sorry, I'm gonna stalemate him. If he can sacrifice the rook, I can stalemate him. And as we saw in the previous videos, if I stalemate blue, blue gets 20 points, right? You remember. That is why if blue can stalemate himself, he's gonna get second position, and it's excellent for him. And he does this move exactly for that reason. If I, in reality, in this position, it's not a good move, because if I take, then he can take the rook here, okay? but I didn't really want to leave myself in a position where I had only a rook and stuff, so I didn't take it, and here he sacrifices it again, and I'm like, okay, now I have to take it, right? I will pause it 1 second. I have to take it because if I don't take it, then he takes my rook. So if I, for example, move the king up, he takes my rook, and he's catching up somehow, and I don't want that, right? So I'm like, all right, let me just take it, and it's gonna be stalemate because the king can't move. And this is something that I didn't expect at all. They changed the rules, and now, as you can see, I got 15 points for stalemating blue, and blue didn't get any points. It was at 34 before, and it's still at 34. So it's interesting that they changed the rule, because I've seen in the comments as well of my video that people didn't like, or people didn't really understand that rule. And now they changed the rule to give 15 points to the guy that stalemates the opponent. So that is interesting. It got me above 100 points, so that's nice. And I double mated and then stalemated the last opponent. So I really enjoyed the game because I had a situation where I was pushing my pawn behind the yellow line, so that was pretty cool. And I always had material advantage, and it was really easy to play, and I took it easy at the end. So